Oh, there's a lot of this. Soldier's Diaries. Okay, we've already read that one. Prayers of One-Eyed Gregory. Our Father, give me strength, protect me from the creatures lying in wait, and offer me support on this fateful day. I know you still have plans for me, and you have enabled me to see the light of a highly valuable item on top of that torrent of water. If only you could consider bestowing upon me the talent to freeze the current to climb up, I could reach it and complete my mission. In the end, I interpret your work in this world, and it is your will that dictates each one of my acts. It is true that I doubted you once. Then my faith was strong enough, and I allowed an arrow to pierce my eyelid. But this time I am convinced that you will help me. Thank you, Lord. Yeah, that... Misfortune of Alvar the Wise. Following the steps of Dracula, I've reached the interior of a room that seems to contain some type of magical device. I'm sure he didn't see me, but when I entered, he was gone. It may be some way to travel quickly from one side of the immense castle to the other. That explained how the Prince of Shadows is able to control what happens throughout his dominion. The mechanism seemed to be powered by blood. However, when I offered mine, a punch stabbed the palm of my hand and injected a strange fluid into my veins. The spasms are recurring, and I can barely finish writing this message. I only hope that my name is remembered for my heroic acts throughout my life, though given my final mistake, I would understand if it weren't. I'm guessing that would be the map room. The Want of Andreas Weigel. Weigel? I hadn't gone more than a few meters when the doors of the enormous elevator closed suddenly, separating me from the rest. From behind the metal, I heard the captain order me to stay in place until his return. Our mission was to take the primordial chaos from the three fearsome guards. Should not have taken more than a few hours. However, it's been several days since he left, and I fear I may be the last man alive in this castle. It is now, with my muscles numb and my heart filled with panic, that I try to find some peace in the memory of my beloved home. I recalled the sad expression on the faces of my parents, sweet and humble farmers, when I told them that I would be leaving in search of an exciting life in the army. Secret of Ambitious Perdicio. I've awoken from the dream of lies of Monsignor Vicus. God does not have favor for the devout. The proof is the number of just men who rest in their place. The pain of living ended when I found these forbidden books. My mind is finally free. The demon of the depths calls me now. I will be his prophet on earth when I have gathered the dark powers myself. The invocation is simple: up, up, down, down. Then turn to the left, turn to the right. Wait, what? Wait. Up, up, down, down, then turn to the left, and turn to the right, and again to the left, and again to the right, grab, and finally jump. If my movements are precise, and this railing does not break, soon the Almighty will kneel before me. So, okay. Up, up, down, down, turn to the left. I think that's a spell from Symphony of the Night. I think that's Black Fireball or something. Awesome. Vision of Vincent V. I failed in my mission, my brother. Take the scroll and give it to the cardinal, and give the cardinal this news. Our Lady Carmilla, founder of the Brotherhood and subject of so many legends, wanders the rooms of this castle. As if 500 years hadn't gone by since she disappeared, and in her earthly human form. If I am not losing my mind, the vision is the perverse product of the mind of the Lord of Evil who resides in this place. Like remnants of his memory, the demons of his mind are as real in this castle as any of the stones it is made of. Cry of Noalan the Miserable. They can't blame me for running faster, for knowing how to hide better than them. Now they're all dead, damn it. Only I am left standing. And if I had the resources necessary, I would leave this place at once. Yet here I am, trapped in this burning dungeon infested by that blood from which all types of monsters arise, surrounded by the skulls of those who have gone on to a better life. I wish I had a way to cross this pit of execution. Perhaps with some type of explosive I could make that enormous cage fall and use as a bridge to reach the other side. Too bad I didn't steal that bag of gunpowder when I had the chance. Doubt of Raynor the Illiterate. I can't understand why it can be so difficult to advance through the castle. Behind us, a horde of hungry beasts are hot on our heels, while in front a dark abyss blocks our path. If that weren't enough, a small man insists that we cross using some sort of magical mechanism. He is strapped in some sort of cage, and although we hear him clearly, the meaning of his words is entirely indecipherable to us. We had no choice but to draw a lot to see who would use the strange mechanism in the end. Roland fell first, then Eric was crushed. Frederick almost made it, but he became overconfident and slipped at the last moment. Why can't it all be as easy as stabbing the enemy in the gut with a sword? The Brotherhood should have sent people better trained than us. Regnard de Camp, the Harpy Killer. My name is Regnard de Camp, and although my life is about to end, my words could still offer knowledge and value to those who read them carefully enough. I'm writing this with my own blood, because the merciless winged women have wounded me seriously. Brandished adeptly, the blade of my sword pierced their flesh repeatedly. However, lacking the skill necessary to fight them in the air, I'm only able to cause them great pain and force them to flee. I'm aware that no combat instruction includes this type of training, but I'm convinced that anyone who can bring them to the ground will enjoy a more complete victory than mine. I conclude this scroll is full of pride and knowledge that my life of the honor. I conclude the scroll full of pride and the knowledge that my life had the honor of serving this noble cause. God will reward my loyalty with an eternal stay in paradise. Guilt of Thorir of Norway. The narrow passageways forced us to advance in single file. I ordered them to go ahead and ensure that no one was left behind, and soon the unthinkable happened. I did not hear the clash of swords nor the sound of shields, only the muffled yell of the men that ended as suddenly as it had started. I still can't believe what my eyes are seeing. My men lie motionless, turned into tombs of stone in the shape of humans. What savage power could have condemned them? Perhaps it was their own commander who sentenced them with his final order. This old, guilty body does not deserve to live or to fight for another day. I'll remain here to accompany my brothers on their fateful journey and warn whoever may read my words. Run, fools! Hope of Hilberry the Stubborn. They sent a horde of battle-hardened soldiers and priests, masters in the use of magic, without achieving any success. After that show of impressive yet useless power, what fool will believe that we have even the slightest chance of defeating the Lord of Shadows? Did they think my sword would find Dracula distracted by his sadistic fantasies and his chest ready to receive the mortal blow? I curse my comrades, my commander, and God himself. If I would have known who would be guiding my destiny, I would never have enlisted in this army of madmen. I quit. I'm getting out of this putrid place to recover my beloved Castlevania. Then, when the time comes, neither her cross-eyed stare nor her crooked teeth will be enough to keep me from starting a new life by her side. Bad drink for Raoul Duke. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to come into this abandoned shop. The relics and potions, surely they're arcane and powerful, but I shouldn't have drunken all the cups ever left. I think I'll sleep here for a while. Even Dracula's dungeon seems like a nice place now. Not even the screams of pain or the smell of death interrupt my daydreaming. With the loot I've amassed today, I'll be a powerful warrior. Tomorrow, yes, tomorrow's better. The only useless relic I've found is this quill that transcribes everything you say. Look at me. Look at it move. Boo! Boo-hoo! 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 Dance! Dance, dance, dance! Woo! Woo! That was amusing. The Secret of Gizverio the Beardless. I have suffered greatly to keep my secret, but now I haven't got a hope of completing my mission to worry about the consequences of revealing it. No one has realized until now that I am actually a woman. I infiltrated the army to find my fiancé, who left me standing at the altar answering the sudden call of duty. The last thing I know is that he enlisted in the Brotherhood as a scout, that this castle was his last destination before he disappeared. In the last few days, I have dragged my heavy armor through these filthy passageways. I have had enough time to think about what I will say to him. Hilberry, you are never the most devout man, and you always criticize the inefficiency of the army. If you thought I'd believe your lies, you were quite wrong. I've come back to ensure you never return, and will make it clear that I found a man who does not judge my beauty as cruelly as you did. Did I get all that? Oh yeah, I got all that. So I think that would be Hilberry the Stubborn from up above there. Fear of Gerard the Lionhearted. Gerard. The armor is making my body cold, and the exhaustion leaves me numb. Will it ever stop snowing in this place? I've managed to drag myself to the old theater. I must find refuge, but I'm afraid to enter. I hear hysterical laughter inside, and I think I know what it is. The legend is true. The elders weren't lying. The toy maker exists. In the cold nights of winter, they spoke of him in his story. In their version, though, the toy maker disappeared into eternal hibernation. I suppose the fearsome lord of the castle woke him up when he took this place over. The laughter has stopped. I think the worst is past. I'll wait here a minute more and then go in. Fascination of Batuu. I found Sir Gerard. He hid outside the auditorium. He went mad and now refuses to go on. It seems that the toy maker has been awoken, and the knights of the Brotherhood should bow down fearfully before him. Before his talking dolls. What threat could some wooden puppets and string pose? The lights are going out now, the curtain is opening, a melody begins to play, and the presenter starts the show. I must wait here until the music stops. It wouldn't be polite to interrupt the show, even if one is to be the star of it. End of Andreas Aloysius. My name is Andreas Aloysius. Aloysius? I don't know. And I've just noticed that I am injured. I will leave a written testament of my misfortune here and now. The power of mind over body is curious, as I have been able to escape from the greenhouse like a bat out of hell, but as soon as I saw the dark, dense blood bubbling out of my side, I collapsed, incapable of taking another step. I never saw my enemy in there. All I saw were dead leaves flying around me, and my comrades falling one after another, decapitated, disemboweled, and crushed. I'm quite sure it wasn't Dracula who massacred us, rather a creature of the forest. I'm almost happy about it. The wound doesn't hurt, and my consciousness is escaping me. There are worse ways to die. Words of Roderick the Swift. The Final Soldier's Diary. When the creature with the brutal face found us and began to mutilate us, those of us who still had feet ran like the wind. Shortly after finding a hiding place, I stopped hearing the screams of my comrades. I prayed that their executioner would be distracted by the cadavers and would not notice the absence of mine. My wounds and fear keep me from getting up, but from here I can see its bird flying over the big tree. It doesn't seem to be a normal bird. It looks unusual and doesn't seem to behave like an animal. Its eyes transmit the obedience and cruelty of a demon. I think that, in some ways, its master can see through them. If that's the case, I'm doomed. So, that's all the soldiers' diaries we found. City memorials. The Battle of Keeps took... Oh my god. The Battle of the Keeps took place not far from this memorial. A division of foot soldiers, protected by 50 priests, held under siege for 3 months the place from which would seem to be endless legions of vampires came forth. General Chanarong led the siege with such mastery that his maneuvers during that battle are studied today at military academies around the world. Today there's not a trace left of the towers, but the catacombs of the city still hold countless reminders of that legendary battle. god. Oh, there's so much of this. Origins of the city. The streets that was once the heart of Dracula's castle destroyed by the Brotherhood of Light down to its foundations. Today, few places remain with structures standing from that time. The purpose of this memorial is that we never forget the inner sanctum of the Prince of Darkness, the worst monster ever to walk the earth, stood here. We were able to defeat him then. Today we are able to live in peace in the same place where he terrorized the world. It is undoubtedly the greatest victory of the human race over the force of darkness. Let us remember it, celebrate it, and remain alert. Gratitude to Thorir of Norway. The large and prosperous Norwegian community in our city wants to pay tribute to one of the greatest heroes, lost during the siege of the castle dungeons. Thorir left detailed descriptions of his encounters with the creatures of darkness. Let his memorial serve to honor his memory and that of all who fought and fell defending good and freedom against the forces of darkness. Tribute to Roland of Roncesvalles. The chronicles tell us that Dracula himself faced the largest army that the Brotherhood of Light has ever brought together alone. Commanded by Roland of Roncesvalles, 500,000 men and countless machines and mans of war and titans of war laid siege to the castle for months. One night the Prince of Darkness himself appeared defiantly and froze the hearts of each and every one of the soldiers present there. Feeling that it was in his hands to end the war, Roland ordered the army to stand grounded to face Dracula alone. What happened then is one of the greatest mysteries in history. We know that Dracula was defeated because it was never seen again. We also know that the entire army was massacred because no one returned home. But above all, we know that we defeated the forces of darkness. Roland de Roncesvalles destroyed the evil one, paying tribute to his own life and that of his entire army. On this very spot, the golden helmet was found of God's paladin, savior of the world, to whom we will always be indebted. Thanks to Reginald de Camp. Reginald de Camp fought and died with honor on this very spot. The detailed stories of his fight against the Castle Harpy served to inspire warriors who, after him, defeated those horrible winged monsters. His contribution to the techniques of aerial combat were key in the final victory over the forces of darkness. Thanks to Reginald de Camp, today the Harpies are no more than a distant memory that will never return. Origins of the Mental Hospital. This memorial was created for the construction of the city's mental hospital in 1902. During the foundation work for the building, a mass grave was discovered with thousands of skeletal remains of newborns. Until then, no one believed certain legends about the concubines of Dracula who, transformed into snakes, entered the houses of the towns around the castle and took away the babies. Now we know those horrible legends were true. Let this memorial be a tribute to all those who lived, suffered, and died during those times of atrocity and despair. Memorial to Andres de Weigall. Tribute memorial to Andres de Weigall, soldier of the Brotherhood of Light. The descendants of the Weigalls, deeply rooted in the city, wish to express and share with their neighbors and visitors their eternal admiration and gratitude to brave Andres. This corner of the city will always be a place of meditation and seclusion, a place to celebrate that the Prince of Darkness was defeated forever by all those who fought and died so that we might live in peace today. Andres was one of them. The descendants could not be more proud of his bravery and sacrifice. Rest in peace. Tribute to the fallen. From the city to the unknown soldier, there are no words in any language of the world nor time enough in all eternity to express the gratitude of the inhabitants of the city, and also of all mankind to the thousands of anonymous soldiers who fought and died in the vile dark times of Dracula. From the fallen in the battle of Niflhel to the glorious victors of the final siege on the castle, all deserve their place in history and a sincere prayer. Thanks to the heroes. Memorial from the Mental Health Workers Guild to the heroes of the city, June 1910. We celebrate the construction of this magnificent hospital which provides such an excellent and necessary role to the residents of our city. Despite the centuries that have gone by, the dark times of Dracula left a mark on the collective subconscious of the people. Such is the case that even today centuries after the defeat of the evil one by the Brotherhood, we still treat thousands of cases related to the irrational and uncontrollable fear of vampires and other creatures of the night. Thanks to all those who fought and defeated Dracula, those fears will never again become a reality. Hehe. Chronicles of the Ancient Light. The exact spot of this memorial, they're known as the Chronicles of the Ancient Light, were discovered 500 years ago. I found that one. I read that one when I first got it. Banners of the Brotherhood. In the year of our Lord, 1830, the banners that the glorious army of the Brotherhood of Light carried during the final battle against Dracula were found on this very site. This memorial commemorates and celebrates that the paladin Roland de Roncesvalles, commanding 500,000 men, defeated the Prince of Darkness, freeing this land from the atrocious yoke that subjected it to horror and death for so long. No one returned from that battle. It is known that Roland de Roncesvalles managed to channel the power of the seven archangels through his battle cross. Historians still debate about whether he did so before or after Dracula exterminated the entire army. What we do know is that the energy released could be seen and heard for thousands of miles around. The castle was mostly reduced to ash, and no one ever saw Dracula again. Let us give thanks for that. Legend of the White Wolf. According to the chronicles, after the destruction of Dracula's castle, an enormous white wolf came forth from the darkness and howled at the moon on this very spot. Those who saw it said that they felt comforted and protected by its presence. The story was soon known by everyone, and on nights of the full moon, multitudes gathered here, fruitlessly awaiting the appearance of the mythical animal. Although eventually many have sworn to have seen it, it has never been any proof of its existence. If this story has reached our times and deserves this memorial, it is because even today it is possible to feel the warm, powerful presence of the mythical white wolf in this place. Oh, that's good. Okay. Conquest Bridge. Here stand the remains of the majestic bridge that connected the two tallest towers of Dracula's castle. On it, countless soldiers fought with bravery and gave their lives to control the point of immense strategic value. Thanks to them, the army of the Brotherhood reached the chamber of the Vampire Lord and expelled him from the world of the living once and for all as a symbol of the success and determination of mankind. The bridge is recognized as a cultural heritage site and has remained practically unaltered to this day. Let us remember it like it was and take pride in the sacrifice of our ancestors. The Great Explosion. Tangible differences in the sediment found under the land prove that a great explosion of energy had its epicenter at this very spot. Originally, geologists thought it was the result of an impact of an enormous meteorite. However, following the recent discoveries of numerous human remains, the hypothesis defended by the Church has gained greater strength. It claims that the release of energy was the work of God himself, and that it was he who challenged his power through Roland de Roncesvalles, his representative on Earth, to defeat the forces of evil. Even today, scientists and believers disagree on these theories. We pray that one day we might know the truth. Urban Planning Statement. Nearly all of our illustrious city was built on the ruins of the solemn castle of Dracula. The remains include relics of great historical value. They are essential pieces in the study of what happened 500 years ago and remain trapped in the rock. That is why the work of our team in expanding the subway systems is constantly interrupted so that those objects can be extracted by archaeologists. It is estimated that, at this rate, construction of the tunnels could be completed in 2057. We ask citizens and future users of our transport line to be patient. Thank you for your understanding. Provincial Department of Public Works. Shame of Narwhal the Miserable. Narwhal the Miserable does not deserve to be remembered for his actions, rather for his nickname. The memorial is for the eternal shame of those who, like him, dishonor the principles and values guided by the Brotherhood of Light to victory against the forces of Dracula. According to the chroniclers of this time, Narwhal left his detachment to his own fate in the castle dungeons, and although he himself met a dishonorable death much later, this memorial will exhibit his dishonor to all future generations. Victory Plaza and the Cinema. The walls of this building have witnessed the growth of great contemporary artists and have set the stage for all types of stories in novels and future films. The most related to this place was the famous Dracula of Alucard the Vampire. We know who that is. The legend-turned-film was highly controversial, as its main character was an immortal knight of the night. Too far ahead of its time, the film told about how the vampire fed off the blood of beautiful ladies from this building without taking their lives. Its transgressing vision suggested with looks, gestures, and words that the victims were enchanted and even in love with their fascinating captor. The film debuted in 1982, despite being rejected by the most conservative members of the church, and was highly successful with critics and audiences alike. Thanks to Lord Zobek. This luxurious building was built nearly a century ago to house the most illustrious families of our society. The driving force behind it, Lord Zobek, who financed its creation along with that of many other homes in the city's wealthy neighborhood. We must recognize the enormous influence that this well-known businessman has had on the growth of our select group, and thank him for his efforts and dedication in undertaking his works. Seeing how he continues to be healthy and full of energy at the age of 112 reminds us that the secret of success is not only in keeping a good image, but also in knowing how to use one's heart. Ecclesiastical prohibition. Based on the law of holy censorship, Bishop Fräulein IV prohibited the image of the paintings, tapestries, and other pictorial representation stored together with this writing to be transported or reproduced outside of this room, or that they be restored by anyone from outside our holy order. With this, we want to keep the works and their dubious message from confusing our devout citizens, and avoid that some unscrupulous person could change the way they look. The soul of one who disobeys this decree will automatically be excommunicated and condemned to the burning fires of hell for all eternity. Origins of the Church. The Holy Inquisitorial Basilica was consecrated in the year 1858. In the year 1858 by Pope Clement XIII. Built in record time, it hosted the first conclave and was the heart of the re-establishment of the Holy Church after the disappearance of the Brotherhood of Light. Without the lands and troops of days gone by, this unarmed army of the faith has guided our conscience to today. The mysticism that pervaded the walls of this holy building satisfy all those who pass between them in search of answers. The wealth accumulated over the years is nothing more than the most vivid reminder of the many mystical longings it has satisfied. We must then admit our inability to understand the cosmos in its entirety and turn ourselves over to the interpreters of the scriptures so that they can guide our souls to the immortal rest of the heavens. Praise to the Bernhardts. I don't think they are worthy of praise. The first factory of Bernhardt's Metal Limited, celebrating the centenary of its foundation, pays tribute to our illustrious CEO. He, like all the Bernhardts who preceded him in office, illuminates our lives with his wisdom and goodness. The lineage of the Bernhards has worked hard throughout the centuries for the good of its people, good of the people of this ancient city. The metallurgical industries, hospitals, schools, and theaters that now bear his name are witnesses to their greatness. This humble memorial is a symbol of our eternal gratitude and admiration. Hey, thanks for watching. This has been played, recorded, and edited by me, Marek D'Amato. The art was by Rafaela Agrona. You can find a link to her commission page below, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.